Are you okay to read or should I read?
Can read more, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين رب اشرح لنا صدورنا ويسر لنا أمورنا واحلل عقدة من ألسنتنا يفقهوا أقوالنا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So we continue with Kitab Muzara'a. This is crop sharing, basically where one person has the skills to farm and another person has the money but doesn't have the skills. So they put their resources together, and in this way they start a partnership, and and whatever is produced is then shared between them. The profits of it is shared between them. So we mentioned before that according to Imam Hanifa rahmatullahi, this is not permissible. It's fasid, very fasid. But according to Sahibin, it is permissible because of the need. So obviously, there's on differing times. So from here we can see that sometimes urf can play a very important role in changing the laws of Sharia in those laws that can be changed, okay? Depending on the zamana, the era, and the time that you're living in. Obviously, there are certain laws that are sacrosanct, that can't be changed. They are as they are, and we cannot go against it. But where qiyas was involved and so forth, then there is scope as for development in those particular areas. Anyway, right. So then Sahibain mentioned to answer Imam Sahib that there's a need for it, so therefore we allow it. And then Imam Sahib's one of his dalail was, well, what kind of transaction is this? Because it's a transaction of either majhul or ma'adum or both. Then you don't know what you're transacting on something which is unknown. You don't know whether the crops are going to grow or not, and you don't know whether it's going to grow a lot of crops or not. And at that moment, it's ma'adum. It's what you call it's not present, and then you are staking you are staking a claim on something that is uh, um, that is not existing, that is non-existent. And Bay'ul Majhul is not allowed. Bay'ul Ma'adum is not allowed in Sharia. Okay, in general. So Sahibain was answering that. That was the last piece, if I remember correctly, that we stopped at. So they say, well, qiyas yutraku bit ta'amul kama fil istisna'. That qiyas can be set aside because of because of common practice among the public, and as we see in the case of istisna. And you asked me that time, what is istisna, right? So istisna from the word sana'a yasna, which means to manufacture, to make. From there you get the word masani, which is a factory or a plant that manufactures things. So in Bay'ul istisna, which is allowed by all, understand, we find there that this has been allowed because of common practice among the people and because you can't do without it. So this is where you go to somebody to manufacture something for you, and said to make something for you, to custom build something for you, which is non-existent at that time. It charges you a price, either you pay up in full or pay a deposit for the as yet non-existent item. So we've allowed it there. For example, you're moving into a new place, you want built-in cupboards. So you get a competent, he comes in, does his measurements, gives you a quote. And he tells you must put down a 50% deposit for that quote if you accept it. Understand? Or you go to the tailor, you want a dress made, a kurta made, top made, whatever the case is. He charges X amount of money, send cash up front. Understood? Or you need a custom pair of shoes made. Understand? Because the shoes in the shop, your feet are such that it's in between the sizes. Or you need you need a special type of sole, whatever, because of whatever reason, medical reasons, whatever. So you have a custom shoe made for yourself. So again, they want a deposit or they want a full fee paid up front. So this is so common nowadays, we don't even think about it. That's bay'ul ma'dum. You are paying for something in whole or partially for something which is non-existent. This is allowed in Sharia because you can't do without it. Then that person is going to use its funds to buy the materials to make up your cupboards, um, to sew your dress or your kurta, whatever the case may be, and so on and so forth. Understood? The same with building also, builders and stuff like that. Most artisans, in fact, will ask you for cash up front because they will use that cash as a deposit to buy the material which is required to manufacture whatever it is that you're asking for to be manufactured. Like we allowed it in this now, so there is a precedent in our Sharia, there is a circumstance in our Sharia where Bayul Ma'dum is allowed. So Bayul Ma'dum, from there we understand, is not a general rule which excludes every type of bay. Yes, in general it's not allowed, but one or two types of bay have been allowed, has been exempted from the general rule because of the amal, because of the need for it. There is no other way to do business except through istisna. In the same way, muzara will be allowed on that basis as well. ثم المزارعة لصحتها على كون ما يجيزها شروط. Right. Now, we're not just going to allow it willy-nilly. That's what Sahibain is saying. We're always going to put shurut in place so that it doesn't cross over into fasad, or so that we minimize or mitigate the possibility of fasad. So thereafter is what they're saying, the muzara, crop sharing, لصحتها, in order for it to be correct. So these are the shurut al-siha. And these are the shurut al-siha upon the opinion of or in according to the opinion of those who allow it, there are certain shurut. Understand? There are certain shurut. Um, so obviously this is now according to Sahibain. Understand? This is according to Sahibain. Uh, these are the shurut al-siha. These are the shurut that will make the transaction correct. Either make or break the transaction even according to أحدها, right? Number one. كون الأرض صالحة كون الأرض صالحة للزراعة. Number one, the land must be able to grow crops. للزراعة. It must be able to grow. It must be fertile enough to grow crops. And it can't be a dead land, it can't grow crops. It must be able, fertile enough to grow crops, or that particular crop that you want to grow. Because not every crop is going to grow in every place and in every province. For example, certain lands will only allow certain types of crops. Certain lands are fertile that they can grow any crop. Certain lands can grow crops, but the weather will not permit it. For example, in South Africa, we can't grow dates, for example. I said in South Africa, in most places, because the weather is not hot enough for the dates to ripen, and so on and so forth. لأن المقصود لا يصل دونه, because the purpose of muzara will not be obtained without the land being viable for growing crops. That's the first شرط. والثاني, second condition, أن يكون رب الأرض والمزارع من أهل العقد. Second thing for شروط الصحة. Now, in any transaction you have شروط الوجوب and شروط الصحة, and there are other shurut as well, right? You probably did this somewhere, but I'm just going over it again. So now, so they're saying secondly that the Rabbul Ard, the landowner, and the Muzari, the laborer, they must be from Ahlul Aqd. They must be those who have, in English we call this capacity to transact. Legal capacity in law is called, right? Legal capacity, or a rough translation of this will be the capacity to transact. What is the capacity to transact? And this is from the shurutul wujub of any ibadat, or most ibadat. Almost all the ibadat. There must be the shurutul wujub. What is that? The normal thing that you know. Person must be akil baligh. Muslim won't be included in this one, right? To perform salah, you must be akil baligh and Muslim. Understand? to give zakat, akil bali, and for all the ibadat and for all transactions. You must be akil, meaning you must have mental capacity. You must be mature. You must be mature. You mature minded, and you mustn't be insane and so forth. You must be sane, in other words, right? In akil baligh, a baligh, you must be baligh. Then you must be reach of age of maturity, or at least at such an age where you understand business and how business works. Understand? And so akil, but like I said, Muslim is not a shart in this instance here. You can enter into a transaction with a non-Muslim. So both the Rabbul Mal, the landowner, and the laborer must be must have legal capacity. Uh, there must be people who have the capacity to transact, to undertake a dealing in simple words. You follow?
जी.
So the one can't be a slave, or he can't be a young child, a young, even 12, 13, not baligh, can't be insane, or so on and so on and so forth. وهو لا يختص به لأن عقدا ما لا يصح إلا من الأهل. I said, and وهو, meaning that this condition, لا يختص به, is not specific to مزارع only. Understand? Is that right? Yes.
Yeah.
Said this condition here, the second condition, is not specific to muzara, because any transaction, then it will not be a right except from those people who have the capacity to transact. And so that's what I just said now. This is a normal shart for all transaction and ibadat as well, together with the normal stuff in ibadat, Muslim and so forth. والثالث, thirdly, بيان المدة. Right now, to minimize the majhuliyat, the jahalat, to minimize the jahalat, they must agree to a particular period. For how long is this transaction going to be? How long is this partnership going to be? لأن عقد على منافع الأرض. Why? Because مزارعة is a transaction upon the benefits that is accrued from the earth. The benefit is going to be derived from the land, from the farm. أو منافع العامل, or it is the benefit that's going to come from the laborer. Okay? So either you're benefiting directly from the land, or you're benefiting from the person working on the land, the farmer, the partner. Okay? So because it's manafi, how do we measure that manafi? Because manafi, benefit, it doesn't have a physical shape or form. Understand? So how do we measure this? So they say, وَالْمُدَّةُ هِيَ الْمِعْيَارِ. The time period will become the means of measurement, will become the scale of measurement, so that we can see uh, within what period will this benefit be derived. Okay? لِتَعْلَمَ بِهَا. So there will be the scale for it, the scale of measurement for it, for the benefit, so that we can know by means of it, by the means of time, what exactly we're expecting from the deal. Okay? والرابع, fourth condition, بيان من عليه البذر قطعا للمنازعة. The fourth condition is they must clearly explain whose responsibility it is to provide the seeds. And is the farmer, the landowner, going to provide the seed, or is the laborer going to provide the seeds? Okay, قطعا للمنازعة, in order to avoid any arguments, mutual arguments later on. وإعلاما للمعقول عليه, and also to clearly announce what it is exactly that they are contracting to. Exactly what are they contracting on? What type of crops are they contracting on? Okay, understood that? So the time is known, the transaction is known, the partnership is known, and exactly what type of crops are going to be growing, wheat, barley, whatever. That also is known. So you can say the product is also known. Okay, so in this way we're minimizing the jahalat, and both partners are sound mind, sound mind, baligh, and so forth, and they have capacity to undertake such a deal. Right. وهو منافع الأرض أو منافع العامل. So if the farmer is going to provide the seed, then this will be the benefit will be coming from the earth. ومنافع الأرض. If the laborer is providing the seed, ومنافع العامل, then it will be, because it's his seed, what will come out of the seed will be the product of his labor, will be the benefit of his labor on that seed. Okay? You follow?
Sure.
والخامس, and the fifth شرط, نصيب من لا بذر له من قبله. What will be the portion of that person who's not providing the seed? And if the farmer is providing the land and the seed, is he going to take a bigger portion, or the 50-50? If the laborer is going to provide the seed, then is he going to be entitled to a lesser portion or not? So each one's share must be known, inclusive of the taking into consideration who's providing the seeds for the land to be planted. لأنه يستحق عوضا بشرط فلا بد أن يكون معلوما, because he is entitled to a عوض, he's entitled to a what do you call, is entitled to a compensation for providing the seed, provided it is stipulated as a condition بشرط. Right? As long as it's stipulated as a condition that because I'm providing the seed, I want an extra 10% or extra 5%. You follow? فلا بد أن يكون معلوما. So therefore, it is necessary that this must also be known. Later, you can't say, hey, you know what, I provided the seed. It didn't cost me money. You can't just, I want 2% extra. That's after everything is done. Now they're going to obviously gonna have a fight about that. And so from up front, all this must be known to cut out any jahalat, to cut out any kind of ambiguity later on. وما لا يعلم لا يستحق شرطا وما لا يعلم لا يستحق شرطا. And what is not known cannot be, a person is not entitled to it. شرطا بالعقد, as a condition of the transaction. What we do not know cannot be automatically included as a entitlement, understand, or as a condition as part of the transaction. You can't claim later on, oh no, because I provided it. So obviously it's understood that it's automatically included, the condition is automatically included, I'm entitled to more. No, it doesn't work like that. Then for a shart to be included in the deal, you must mention it. You must make it known upfront. It must be, as you say, it must be on the contract. It must be written clearly in the contract. You can't just take it for granted. It's not something automatic. والسادس أن يخلي رب المال بينهما وبين العامل بينها وبين العامل. And sixthly, the landowner must free the way, the transaction must free the way between himself, between the earth and the labor. In other words, he must hand the farm over to the laborer. He can't say, no, no, no. The land belongs to me, so I'm going to oversee this project. You can't do that. He's providing the land, he must step out of the picture after that. حتى لو شرط عمل رب الأرض يفسد العقد. Therefore, if the landowner makes a condition that he's also going to work, then this transaction will become fasid. Why? Because then there's an imbalance in the partnership here. The partnership is one person's land, other person's labor. Now, if he's also going to be working as a laborer, then he's got two portions. He's providing land plus he's working. Understand? So that's going to lead to the fasad, because where's the partnership then? لفوات التخلية. Why? Because the condition of takhliya, which is to allow access to the worker, this has been lost. Otherwise, the worker, the laborer, must be allowed to do as he sees fit. والسابع الشركة في الخارج بعد حصوله لأنه ينأكد شركة في الانتهاء. And secondly, there must be partnership in the produce after it has been obtained, after it has been harvested, because this transaction will become a partnership in the end. فما يقطع هذه الشركة كان مفسدا. So anything that will interfere, that will cut off this partnership, will obviously lead to a facade in the act will lead to the transaction being spoiled and being incorrect. والثامن بيان الجنس البذري ليصير الأجر معلوما. And lastly, the type of seed must also be explained clearly so that the profit can also be known. Okay?
Can I just repeat the last one?
They must explain what type of seed is going to be provided, the genes, so that the profit, ajr or mean profit, can be known. Anything you didn't understand? Anything you didn't? Anything need to be explained?
لا الحمد لله نسلمنا.
Inshallah, we'll continue tomorrow بإذن الله تعالى. سبحان الله بحمده سبحانك الله وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.